Hello everyone, today I'll be making a solo flawless throne on Harbinger with the Forerunner Catalyst and with Titan. For my subclass, I'll be using the Titan Stasis, the Behemoth. Here are the fragments and the mods I'll be using. For my kinetic, I'll be using the Forerunner with the Catalyst, the Rock. For my energy weapon, I'll be using 3 bows. You don't need to use bows, you can also use scouts. I'll be using the Void Bow of the Imperial Needle, the Wolf Tone Draw, and the Tyranny of Heaven. For my heavy, I'll be using the Stasis Sword, the Sapphire. For my helmet, I'll be using 10 Discipline, Sidearm Ammo Finder, Ashes to Assets with Shield Protect Charge. For the gauntlets, I'll be using Sidearm Loader, High Energy Fire, Unstoppable Sidearm with 5 Discipline. Exotic, I'll be using Armamentarium with the Sidearm Reserves, with Arc Damage Resistance, with Striking Light. Next, I'll be using 10th Recovery with the Sidearm Scavenger and Taken Charge. Final is Special Finisher, Bomber, and Passive Guard. Alright guys, so for this video I mainly wanted to focus of the sidearm Forerunner with the Catalyst. Mainly I'll be focusing on just using the sidearm. The run will be a little slow since I won't really be using my super. I won't be reusing the sword so much, only for particular situations where if I ran out of the Forerunner sidearm, then I would have no choice but use the heavy weapon. Now this weapon, the sidearm, it's a very unique weapon. You know, for PvP it's very powerful. But in PvE, I would say it's a okay weapon. Now, the only good thing I like about this weapon is the range. The range is really good, especially for the sidearm. And you use special ammo. And when you do precision shots, you can make a decent amount of damage. And when you do final blow, especially with the Catalyst, right? You'll get the perk of the rock, where you just hold the square button, and then you'll have a grenade where you can throw it at enemies, basically like Halo, and you can take down a couple, quote unquote, a couple of ads. It isn't as powerful as it seems in PvP, but is it really worth sacrificing your kinetic for an exotic where you can use Gjallarhorn, Sleeper, the Lament, Jotun, Telesto? I mean, is it really worth using this specific weapon for doing the amount of DPS for the final boss, or even for the ogre for the Everrise Grasp dungeon? I don't really know about that. But like I said, it is a okay weapon, a fun weapon to use for strikes. You know, for not serious activities. And the only thing I can think of using this weapon is for Lake of Shadows. But the run would be... but it would be extremely slow. To be honest, I have mixed feelings with this exotic, and I would just prefer to use Peace Bond or even the new Stasis weapon from the dungeon than sacrificing in a kinetic with this particular Forerunner. Now, the good thing about using this Forerunner is for this season, they have the artifact mod with Unstoppable Sidearm, so you can actually stagger Unstoppable Champions with the Forerunner. Now, this weapon will be completely useless for next season for the Witch Queen because, let's be honest, we saw the twab and they said, and maybe they'll change it, I have no idea. You know how Bungie is. They always change stuff where they will say, or they said that the overload mods will be auto rifles and submachine guns. For sidearm, I don't think sidearm will be available for next season unless they decide to go again. By the way, for unstoppable sidearm, since we had the sidearm last season and for this season as well. Now you can see here that I am using the 4 tracer only. I do want to show gameplay how it is, how, you know, how using this weapon can be efficient. Well, I will try to make it work as much as I can. I did at times forget that I had the catalyst, and that's one thing you'll notice is sometimes I forget to reload again to get the particular catalyst perk of the rock. And that could be a bad thing, especially for me using this weapon. You know, I'm not quite used to it because when you are using the grenade, it's just it does clear ads, but it isn't as powerful as a war mine cell. Let's just be honest with that. Now, the grenade doesn't have a particular elemental damage, so meaning when you throw a grenade, it doesn't seem solar or arc or void or stasis. But the one thing I can see this build could be is probably elemental mods, or as you saw there, the helmet. When you throw a grenade, you can get some of your super. That's the only thing I can think of using this particular catalyst. Well, to take advantage of it. And that's the only thing I can say about this weapon. So you can see I am trying to take down the 3 emissaries of the mini bosses. So you guys know how Harbinger is. And I think this is the last season, and for next season, I think Harbinger will be taken out, or I could be wrong, because I remember the last time I saw the Harbinger transfer the solo, they said that it'll be only available until season 15, at the end of season 15, so it is possible. I don't remember 100% that Harbinger will be taken away, and probably presage as well. So I probably will mess around more with this sidearm. And I'm trying to make it fun, but like I said, it's an okay weapon. But I would say I would prefer a legendary sidearm, and then just use a heavy or a fusion exotic or any special exotic over this one. I just don't really see this weapon to be good for DPS, for final bosses, for the dungeon, for prophecy. Like, just using that weapon, you will have to combo it. I just don't think it would be a very fun weapon to use for, you know, for challenges. But it is quite fun, especially it does have this long range for a sidearm. Now we are gonna go for the last emissary, and the last one is gonna be a wizard. So yeah, like I said, this run will be slow because I'm just using the Forerunner and trying to use the catalyst. So I will throw the grenade, hopefully, if my character will throw a grenade. And I missed, unfortunately. So The grenade is almost like Halo, and you will have to throw it in the right direction. You can do a decent, I would say okay, not decent, okay amount of DPS towards the wizard or any enemies. Now, the sidearm cannot break shields like obelisks. I thought that maybe the sidearm can melt the shields, but I was wrong, so that doesn't help, unfortunately. So once we take down the 3 emissaries, we can go to the next area of the 3 waves of ads. So we took down the arc boss, the solar, and the void. So the first wave will be the arc with the tracking blights of death. Next will be the solar knights where they shoot blights and you will have to dodge. Then lastly will be the void wizards, which they are very, very easy to take down. You can just go on top of the platform and then just snipe them, or use a fusion or a machine gun or a grenade launcher. But for this video, we're focusing on using the Forerunner. And like I said, it's an okay weapon. I wouldn't recommend to use this on a dungeon. If I have to be really honest, like just using this grasp of otherwise, I would say wouldn't be a good idea. Or using this weapon on a Grandmaster class way, I would say no, it is totally not worth it. And like I said, it's a fun weapon for strikes, you know, a 6-man activity, but not for endgame challenges for this weapon. Now, like I said, the range is really nice. You know, you can break the shield, take down the mini bosses. So we are at the arc wave where there are snipers on top. And you can easily take them down with a bow if you don't have any sidearm ammo. And just to let everyone know, the Forerunner carries only special. It is not primary. It's not cryostasia. Remember cryostasia? Yeah, that weapon. It's not special ammo cryostasia, but for this particular Forerunner, it is using special ammo, which is why it's best to have a special finisher. So when you do run out of the Forerunner, then you can just use your finisher, get ammo, and then just spam it. So now I'm throwing my grenade, and I don't think it hit anything, unfortunately. So yeah, basically that's the catalyst. When you do rank up, rank 16 at the Dares of Eternity, you'll get the catalyst for the Forerunner, and then once you get it, then you can just, you know, go to Shadow Throne, or Last Wish, or the first stage of the dungeon, new dungeon, to get the amount of kills to redeem the catalyst, masterwork, etc. And then you'll get the particular perk of the rock. Yes, the rock. That's what's it called, a perk. And the rock is basically the grenade you see at the lower left, which I throw it. It took amount of, you know, okay damage. It isn't like huge compared to the Warmind Cell, which is pretty sad. I mean, now thinking about it, they nerfed the Warmind Cell, and the Warmind Cell seems a bit more powerful than the grenade I'm using. Now, the one thing I will criticize, which I'm pretty sure people will hate me right now, is I do wish the grenade can explode on base of what subclass I'm using. So I do wish that if I was stasis, it will freeze enemies. Or if I'm solar, it will be fire and burn them, or arc, electrify them, or void, you know, etc, etc. I wish it had a particular elemental damage or something when using these grenades to make it worth it. And this is for PvE. Now, PvP is different. I'm not going to talk about PvP, by the way, because I know in PvP it's really good. You know, etc. With the range, with the grenade. Yes, I know. I got it. I'm talking about PvE. And like I said, it's a fun weapon, but I wouldn't recommend it for a challenge at all. And you can see that I am using Forerunner. I'm gonna use the sword this time since just mainly using the sidearm is taking way too long for this waves of ads. And we're at the solar section. We're at the second wave of this particular stage. And we're nearly close to the end, the last wave, and we can go to the next area dealing with the final boss. Well, of course, the first is a puzzle jump and then the final boss, you know. Now, like I said, for this particular waves of ads to survive, which that's the objective, it's gonna be Arc, Solar, and Void. Of course, we'll have one unstoppable champion for the second wave, and then for the third one will be 2 unstoppable champions. And for this season, it is perfect timed to, I guess, mess around with this new exotic sidearm with the Forerunner, since you can stagger unstoppable champions and spam special towards these mini bosses. So yeah, isn't this amazing sidearm? Seriously, are you really willing to sacrifice, you know, an exotic kinetic over sleeper, Telesto, witherhoard? I don't know about you guys, but honestly, I would rather use sleeper or any other exotic. But like I said, for this season, it's a okay weapon to use since they does have the unstoppable mod for sidearms for this season. So yeah, you can see here I am running out of sidearm because I've been spamming so much, and now I have to be careful of not using all of my particular ammo. Then I have to use a bow. Now I was thinking of switching to a sniper, but then again I can't because I already showed the intro of the loadout I'm using, and it would be kinda, you know, cheating, you know. So I can't do that since I already introduced, you know, the weapons I'm specifically using in this video, you know. Usually I do try to not switch around too many weapons since I try to practice on lock loadouts. Because if I do switch too much of the weapons, then there will be times where it's lock loadout, right? And I got so used to switching weapons and I can't do it anymore. And then that's when playing the game I will not do very well. Wouldn't be the greatest idea ever. But that's why I don't really switch so many weapons, because there are always these lock loadouts where I have to be very careful. And you can see in this video, I'm just switching different elemental secondary weapons with only a bow. You can also use the bow. By the way, I did test it out. If you don't have the Tyranny bow, the solar bow, you can use the Val. If you do have the Val from the Valentine's Day season, Crimson's Day, you can use that weapon for Harbinger. It doesn't really matter. Your power level will still be the same. The only difference is it will take around 2 bow shots to break down the solar shield, but that's about it. So after, I would say, 8 minutes of my life, I'm not entirely sure how long this took me, but we finally can make it to the jumping puzzle of the boss and actually just deal with the particular area. Now the boss did took some time because, well, Mainly, the boss is a little tanky, and just using the sidearm or the Forerunner can make it a bit slow. Not only that, but the Solar Knights were kind of hiding away, especially the left one. But you'll see very soon what I'm talking about, and it could be a bit frustrating, but you will see the power of the Forerunner of the range is very, very good for this particular boss fight. And like I said, it's okay weapon. It's not like super best, but you can see I am trying my best to make this loadout work. And like I said, this isn't the best loadout for Harbinger. You know, if I was using, the meta, this would definitely take like 15 minutes. Let's just be super honest with that. But because this video is focused on the catalyst for the Forerunner, I might as well just use it, especially on a solo flawless for Harbinger, and it'll be gone very soon. Which is sad because, I think Harbinger it's okay. It's an okay like mini mission or secret mission. I wouldn't call it the dungeon. It's an okay secret mission. Of course, Whisper the Worm is, far better in 0 hour. But Harbinger, it's an okay mission, especially going for the solo run. It's not so bad. Very forgiving compared to 0 hour, where 0 hour is extremely, with the time limit, it can be a bit stressful. So you guys know the deal over here. You go in a jumping puzzle. You have to go around here. There are 2 ways, you can go from the far right or straight forward to go to the boss fight. There are going to be a lot of void shields for this week. This week is mainly blights all around from the ground, dealing with the solar knights, which can be annoying from far distance, and infinite waves of ads if you don't take down the 2 solar knights. That's basically what the boss fight is. It's not the week 3 where it's 2 tanky annoying bosses with infinite amounts of taken thralls chasing you. That's not this week. Just to let everyone know. And I've been doing a lot of solos on that particular week. I never really had a chance to make another video of this week because this one isn't the most annoying boss. I would say the second most annoying boss, and the easiest is next week, where you just throw an orb to break the shield, and then you could do DPS at the boss. But for this week, like I said, you do some damage at the final boss, right? Then once you do, you pull back and then you take down the solar knights because there's infinite waves of ads that will spawn over and over. And then once you take down the 2 solar knights, then the infinite waves of ads will stop. You can clear them down from far distance and then do DPS at the boss once you clear down the ads. Super easy, to be honest. So you can stand on this rock because the boss is extremely not intelligent in this boss fight. You can just use the power Forerunner. Once he's immune, then things can be a little bit, I would say, slow, because you will have to deal with 2 solar knights from far distance, and since we don't have obelisk, which I wish I could use that weapon, but I can't, you have to deal with 2 solar knights, and you can break the shield with the bow, and then just use the Halo Magnum, the Forerunner sidearm, to take down this solar knight. Now I was just being patient as usual and trying to take down this very annoying Solar Knight. So it looked pretty well. I was quite happy. Then once we take down the particular right side of the Solar Knight, then the left side is hiding from the left, and it could be a bit tough to take him down with the sidearm because, you know, there's a lot of taken ads shooting you from far distance, and I'm trying to throw a frozen grenade. So yeah, this is like the pros and the cons of using Forward Tracer. You know, in these little situations, you have to break the shield, and then I had to switch to my Forerunner. So I was trying to use this weapon from long distance, and like I said, it's okay. You know, I was thinking of just spamming my bow, but I couldn't because, you know, this video is mainly focused on Forerunner, so therefore I have to use this weapon and make it work. Isn't that fun for me? So once again, I had to break the shield. Hopefully, if this goblin can stop immune this Solar Knight and we can get on with the DPS with the boss, you know, wouldn't that be nice if the game would let me? I don't think so. And that's the one thing I get annoyed at this, is I would prefer to take down the Solar Knight from the left side first, then deal with the right side, because the left one seems to be most annoying to take down from this angle, because you have this rock in the way, and then finally when you take down the Solar Knight, then you can just take your time dealing with all these void taken ads, and then you have these blights appearing in the ground randomly out of nowhere, and they're very harmless. They do look intimidating, to be honest, but they're very harmless as long as you stay away from them and not mess around. You'll be good to go. But like I said, this boss fight isn't so bad compared to the one where you had to deal with two mini bosses at the same time with infinite waves of ads. So yeah, things were like going a bit too long for me, so I decided to just use the stasis sword to take down the remaining ads. And like I said, the run is gonna be slow, unfortunately. So as of now, I am just using the Forerunner to do some DPS at the final boss. I will do a mini time skip when clearing down the void shield taken ads, since it is going to take a while, especially just using a bow. So once we do amount of DPS, you can pull back. There will be two Solar Knights, so I am switching to a Solar Bow. You can also use a Solar Scout. Solar Bow isn't required at all. I just like bows. They're one of my favorite primary weapons. So now all I can say over here is I'm just clearing down a couple of ads, and then there is a Solar Knight that is appearing on the left side. I can't really see him since he's hiding behind a rock, so I was just trying to get rid of these taken goblins, since they do love to immune these Solar Knights or anything in their path. So you can see over here, yes, I said that, the goblins are trying to immune the solar knight. And little things like this can take a while. But of course, if I was Night Stalker with Lament, I definitely would just take down the Solar Knight right away. But like I said, the loadout I'm using isn't the best. I just want to use the Forerunner. There's just a show with the catalyst. It's, you know, it's a decent It's a decent, okay, exotic weapon. Now I did see the PvP. The PvP, I think the Forerunner for PvP is very good, but for PvE I would say it's okay. You know, I just don't think this weapon will be good for endgame content. You know, like doing DPS at the final boss, GM Glassway, or Hollow Layer. I just don't see this weapon fun to use. But as you know here, I am trying to be patient dealing with this last Solar Knight. You can bait the Solar Knight by just pushing forward and jumping ahead and then pulling back. So you can see here I'm trying to bait the Solar Knight. Hopefully he'll give up hiding and then we can take him down. Now you can see here I could have just used my bow or my scout, but I was trying really hard to just break the shield and switch to my sidearm to do some amount of damage towards the Solar Knights. So once we clear down all the 2 Solar Knights, infinite ads will stop spawning. And now I'm going to do a mini time skip for this because this is basically me clearing down all the ads before the boss can spawn. Once all the ads are clear and I gather some special, now we can actually do DPS to the final boss with just using the Forerunner. So the boss does love to throw fire, but you can just hide behind the rock, and goblins love to immune the final boss, which it can happen. You can throw your nade and then freeze the enemies, or you can use the rock catalyst and hopefully you can damage them. So at this point I totally forgot about the rock perk, so you can see when I'm focusing at the boss or doing DPS, I forgot about the perk near the end of the final boss. So yeah, the rock perk, like I said, it's okay, it's not the meta. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.